Good morning, everybody, to the Astral Beacon, where we get our day started talking about all the magic in the world that is possible. And then, of course, one of the places our magic occurs is in our dreams at night. And during this period of COVID, to be kind of that, people have really asked a lot of questions about dreams. And so we're going to answer them as part of the Halloween Psychic Fair, as we'll discuss all forms of psychic phenomena and all sorts of energetic entities. I'm your host, Ed the Pagan. I'm very glad to be here this morning, and I'm very excited to be so. So, one of the gifts I got from a gentleman, Rex, who gave me was a deck of playing cards or set up for the day. And everybody knows I love to do predictions. And they know I love this sort of magical energy of the day. So I'm just going to pick a card for the morning to get us started. And then I'm going to talk about a little bit about the dreams that have come in and that you can send to me too. And we have the Three of Diamonds. And that means very simply, and beautifully done. People want some better answers. Three of Diamonds in this case represents the need to be working in partnerships and the idea that we need to work in partnerships. And for me, that means I need to work with my programmers who have done an amazing job. I would need to work with the people who are keeping records, my CFO, the company, and a lot of other people. So for me, right away, I got the answer. I need to make sure that I'm working in partnership with people, including my spirit allies. When people ask me, why dreams? Why do we dream? And well, dreams are essentially a very big part of how we keep our mental health. We don't know a lot about dreams, and we know a ton about dreams. It depends on which way you look at it. Because it's very hard to self look at products from within. And what we do know about dreams is that they're very, very necessary for our mental health. They help us correlate what's happening in the world. How far dreams reach out, though, has been discovered to be quite different. There's even quantum experiments going on that shows that our dream state is very much an active part of us, though we continue to think of it as an inactive part of us. That's right. We think of it as a product of our body resting. Therefore, it's only part of our inactivity and not our activity. But it's an essential extension of what we do. So I love dreaming. I've done lucid dreaming, and I've been a lucid dreamer for a long time. I can get in control of some of my dreams. I suffered from nightmares forever as a child. And as an adult, I suffered from nightmares until I started practicing breathing exercises right before the bed, changed the way I looked at things. And I still have nightmares from time to time, but they're much more controllable and manageable. But for the biggest part, they've gone mostly away because I've been able to get into and analyze dreaming. So that's how I basically got into really loving to talk about dreams. Okay, so we are talking. So Miss T talked about having the fact that she saw eyes in her dreams all the time. So let us go ahead and talk about eyes. There's a couple of different aspects of eyes and how they're presented in the dream. The number one thing is that eyes from the shadows, and that is a basic essential fear that you're being watched. And it's a warning that you're being watched. If you are not coming to a place where it says, "Oh, wow, I've had these dreams of somebody watching me from the darkness," it really means that your fear, your mindset is trying to warn you that there's people watching you that you may not want to watch you. It's the idea of the stalker and the dream. Remember, your dreams are coalescing your reality in part. And so that's a very fun part about it is that it can tell you things about the world. So for those who've gotten dreams in the shadows, some people say, "Oh, I've gotten blood red eyes attached to some sort of malevolent creature threatening me." Well, there is a thing called sleep paralysis or dream demons, and that's could be part of that because that's essentially a big fear of what we do. And so we come out and we kind of just deal with this paralysis. We deal with this idea and the demons that come attached to it, the way our mind interprets it, especially in the context of our society, tends to be that. It can be an entity that's trying to contact you that you're seeing as hostile, which it may or may not be, or probably. Um, or it can be more importantly that you're facing an anger situation as well. When you see red eyes and they are your own eyes being reflected back to you, you're dealing with an anger issue in your day-to-day life that is about to really explode. And it's warning you that you've taken enough. So the last set of eyes you're looking at. So in this dream that Miss D offered me, is that she had a lot of eyes everywhere, and that usually represents one of two things. And one of them, and I don't think it's this case because the way it is, but I want to take it to the more common one, is a guilty conscious. And that's a big, big problem. You have a guilty conscience when you feel like you've done something that you shouldn't have, or it's wrong, or it's bad. You go on and you basically say, you see everything watching you. It's like a little kid who steals a piece of candy. He thinks everybody knows he's done it. Nobody cared, but everybody sees him do it. And so he gets this idea of it. The other one is that there are people probing into your secrets. You're feeling probed. And this may not be about guilty conscience, but feeling the way that you do, that you don't want to be as analyzed as people are saying. So that's another aspect of it. So I find that very interesting. So when you see an eyes about being watched, it's very interesting. Now, when you're seeing through other people's eyes, that's a very different type of thing. It's letting you know that you're having empathy, or you're feeling the reaction at a distance. Your mind wants you to process it at a distance, or you're actually projecting into another person's dream or another person's state. This is a great power of empathy. If you can do this aspect in your dream, you're on your way to a very strong lucid dreaming on that aspect. So that's really very cool. So psychic phenomena, like our readers at Halloween Psychic here have, talk often about clairsentience, clairvoyance, clairaudience, all of these type of clairs. When you're dreaming, you can practice these as well. So sometimes when you're seeing through other people's eyes, you're seeing through their thought forms, their dreams, and possibly their lives. There are many tales about mothers seeing through the eyes of their children, fathers seeing through the eyes of their children as well, couples seeing through each other's eyes, especially when there's a great damage or danger about to happen, like a car wreck, that you can just know it. Well, in the dreams, they can show you this as well. So dreams are a superpower. Get a hold of your lucid dream over the next couple of days. First thing you need to really do with a dream is get yourself a journal or a notebook and keep it next to your bed, or a hand recorder if you're not so much a writer. Get a hand recorder. Start recording your dreams the minute you wake up. The more that you get into it, the more the body accepts that they must let the message of the mind get through to the hands or mouth to project its reality into a conscious world. Otherwise, the body mind starts to take over right away, and we go for a coffee and utilizing facilities and developing more of this sort of commonality and these common elements to our lives, and it makes us suppress the dreams, because the dreams are mainly there to help us clean up, organize, and redo it. When you do remember a dream, it's a message, and it's a message from your subconscious and possibly further into this realm. And so those are the dreams we're dealing with now. People have mentioned, yes, they have client dreams, car dreams, and other things. So today we're talking about eyes, and that is the ability to see. So I'm really fantastic for that. And the last piece, so people have asked me about the third eye, the triangular eye. We'll get into that at another time, because if you see that in a dream, it has a lot of definition of that you're starting to deal with secret society ideas, because it's so involved into that sort of symbolism. Is sort of secret identity, the opening of the third eye. It's a very important part. If you see it in a dream, such as a lot of people see it with Egyptians, or the Egyptian gods, as we call them in English, or there's other words for them. Trust me, it's not all English. It's the only language I speak right now in this life, which is a terrible disappointment, to tell you the truth. But this is the idea that we use these symbols, especially the symbol of the mystic eye, kind of detonate that we're getting into secret information. I will do more research on that for you. I know a lot, but I want to do research, particularly in the dream state, because somebody's asked me a very particular question about it, and I will take down that another day. So tomorrow, we will put up the Astral Beacon in its physicality with all its magnets and the crystal balls, and we're going to be putting it over the Fey Village. And for those of you who are of the crystal web, know it'll be fed through. Some of the energy of the crystal web will feed through the beacon, create out a signal, and that signal will hopefully attract dreamers and spirit people and all sorts of people to the beacon, so that we can discuss about them and that we can see them in our dreams. Because one of the things I'm hoping that we do over the next 31 days is help us understand a sharing dream system, that we can have more dreams together, more dreams shared, more dreams discussed it out there. And if you have a dream, please send it to me. You know where it is. Mention in the links below. And we will do our best to try to discuss them. And so there is that. And so today we're going to talk about, so a little bit talking about the nature of psychism, clairvoyance, clairaudience, and clairsentience, which means to know, to hear, and to see. Clairsentience, to know, clairvoyance, to see, clairaudience, to hear. These are really the keystones of how most psychic energies work. Most people work from that one. There's an underlying one that most people even have further that are most common. It's called empathy. Empathy is probably the ability to feel the energy of other people. Mostly emotional is the most basic building block. So if you have empathy, you can really build on your clairvoyance, your clairaudience, and your clairsentience, because you're allowing yourself to feel. So to allow these emotions to come through you. And actually, well, just don't you think about psychism all about how you think? Not really. If that were true, then we could build it into a computer. We could build it into a robot. We could process it on a daily basis. We can make it much more of that into a practical art if it were solely a mind issue. But it is a combination of the spirit, spirit and the soul. Some people see those separate. There's a lot of information on how those are separate together. But from that emanation of the sky, of the emanation of the earth and the soil, and how we kind of get put together, the soul, the spirit is what we wrap our eye around. And that the next step is, of course, the body. The body has to be able to exercise its will. It needs to act in the physical world. And so between those two, there's a set of emotions that actually drive everything. We don't necessarily drive things from the logic. It would be a very different world. It would be very different. But in this idea of psychic world, it's about the fuel that the emotions give us that we can drive our thoughts faster, harder, quicker. And so empathy gives rise to your first set of psychic emotions. And those emotions, when properly channeled into the will, can increase your ability to know things beyond knowing, to hear things beyond the ears, to see things beyond the eyes, to have visions, to bring yourself into a glorious state of amazing rapture, the ability to have awe and wonder in your day. And that is one of the things that we want at the Astral Beacon, that you find your awe every day. Let us find ourselves in a place of wonderment. Join me on this sort of journey to find wonderment. And so let us try to discover that for ourselves. So that is the last of it for today. Check out the Halloween Psychic Fair.com. Check out the psychics, check out the classes, get an all access pass, get out of here, and more classes to come. Thank you, and have a great day. May the faith be with you.